Welcome back. You might be wondering, hey, why is there another video without Lubiak? The first one had Lubiak, this one doesn't have Lubiak. It's supposed to be comparison one-on-one. Well, the thing is, I have two kinds of divisions that Lubiak does not have. This is one of them. Now, you may be looking at this and you may notice that this is heavy armor. Timothy, why would you use heavy armor? Heavy tanks are obsolete. Heavy tanks have been removed from battle since the MBT came out of place. Not quite. You see, all an MBT is, a main battle tank, is just a heavy tank with a heavy tank gun, heavy tank armor, heavy tank everything, but it's running at roughly a light tank speed, and it's basically used to replace the medium tank. It's kind of a everything at once kind of deal. Now, on nation-states, there are a lot of nations that have moved on to heavier tanks. I'm not the only one that does this. Don't throw all the flack at me. We have Lubiak, we have Lyris, we have Holy Marsh, we have Rakovia. Basically, all the big, huge, scary, terrifying nations that have been in the game for a very long time, the nations that teach everybody else how to roleplay, those people all have terrifying heavy tanks. Do they have a scary amount of them? Yes, but their militaries are also terrifyingly huge, and they have a lot of money from selling weapons or invading places that they can spend on this kind of equipment. Other countries, we can only have so many of these weapons. I, personally, can only have, like, less than 1,000 of them. They're just too expensive. And they're very hard to maintain. Getting spare parts is very difficult, too, because they don't always answer your letters or your phone calls or anything like that, so yeah. Okay, so let's cut through all the weird drama. Why do I have these things? Well, the reason why I have a heavy armor division is for the same reason that I have armor division, but more so. And the same reason that, you know, Lubiak had armor divisions. I need to smash something into the line, okay? That's what my armor division's for. The problem is, even though my armor divisions are tougher than most other armor divisions, there are people with tougher armor divisions than me, or the same armor divisions in quality, or they have a lot of armor divisions and I'm heavily outnumbered and I just need to crash through like 10 divisions with one division. That's where heavy armor comes in. Heavy armor is when you don't really care about speed or cost or maintenance or really anything besides just raw armor and raw firepower. That's why I have these specific tanks, and that's what these divisions are all prioritized around. So let's go to look on the tank and just see what makes it so special. Oh my gosh, you may be saying, what is this? Well, it's a Panthera Leo, just like this previous slide showed. Duh. Now, if you read the stats below the image, this is a 140mm ETC gun, by the way. The tank's very heavy. It goes over 70 short tons. It has powerful armament, of course. It's 140mm ETC gun. That right there is an autocan for 30mm, I believe, or 40. I'll have to check again. It's got great armor. It's got great weapons. It's reasonably mobile for its weight. It's kind of adaptable. It's got really good technology. Problem is, the suspension and transmission suck. Well, they're really good, but the weight kind of screws everything up. And sometimes you can get around between, you know, the turret and the chassis. It doesn't really happen very often because the tank's range is so extreme, but it does happen from time to time. And the tank is like a huge look at me on the battlefield. But there are advantages to this tank. Like I said, I don't have a lot of these tanks. I only have like 1,000 of them, 4 divisions, and I basically just use them to hold the line or crack the lane open when things have completely and utterly gone to hell. My good friends over at... Sorry, I spaced out. Their name's very hard to pronounce. I think it's Minorez. My good friends over at Minorez, we go back a very long time, 4 years almost. They use these for their best divisions. This is their heaviest tank that they have that's MT. So I'm not the only person who uses these kinds of tanks for this kind of goal. There are people of other heavy tanks, you know, Lyris tanks, maybe a Lubiak, super insane reserve tank. But I like to think that this is, you know, a pretty good one. This is my heavy tank. Other people have other heavy tanks. This is my heavy tank. Other people's heavy tank might just be an ordinary MBT. They just happen to have weaker MBTs. It happens, you know. They have tiers. This is just like Willyberg. Willyberg has tiers. You know, he goes from a light Japanese to a stronger Russian to a good Leopard. My military, as you probably noticed, has 3 types of MBTs as well. It goes from a Type 90, Type 80 something or other, 87. It has its own specialist tank that's like heavily modified Oplot T-84. Then we got the Ogre 110 that Lubyat uses. Then we got this. It's a tier system. This is my airborne division. As you probably noticed, this is kind of familiar. It kind of reminds you of like the Grenadier divisions that you know, Lubyat uses. And remember how in the previous video I mentioned that the Lubyat Grenadier divisions kind of have the same role as like a Russian airborne division might? Here you go. That's what these are for. This is what I use when I want to get behind my opponent. This is my airborne division. This is what they're for. This is what I use them for. They're actually really good divisions in my opinion, and I'm really proud of them. Now, you may have noticed I don't know how many tank destroyers to use. I don't know. I have no idea how many. I keep asking people, they don't give me the answers. I'll have to figure that out when I use these. I'm thinking 250, maybe 300. Now, another thing you might have noticed is, this is a pretty good division, besides the whole tank destroyer number thing not being shown up. But, why do you have as many IFVs as you do APCs? Shouldn't your APCs greatly outnumber your IFVs? Well, there's a pretty easy explanation for that, as you probably guessed. You see, this is my IFV. It's simple. It holds 10 people. When you have a vehicle that holds 10 people, of course, you're going to have more of them. It just makes sense. These things are not like terribly expensive. They're not terribly heavy. They're not terribly hard to use. They're just a tough tracked APC with more armor and 25mm gun. They hold 10 people. They're basically an APC as far as I'm concerned. That's what half of my infantry carrying needs are met by. So overall, this is why I have so many of them, because this is what I want to be on the front line with my infantry, is these vehicles. Now, as you probably have guessed, I have a lot of infantry inside my vehicles. You might have an IFV that holds 6 people, like Willyberg or, you know, Tomarian Reich, who have the super insane German IFVs that have all that armor, and they hold like 4, 5, 6 people. Well, I prefer, you know, bigger, weaker IFVs, because, you know, I just like to carry lots of people into combat. My infantry is what I'm proud of. It's infantry and tanks. I don't really care too much about the IFVs, to be honest with you. They're kind of targets, in my opinion. Thanks for watching this video. The editing should get down to, you know, be a little structured. It should look pretty good. If you like this, let me know. Please comment. Please hit the like button. Do not call me about how good the video is. Don't tell me how good it is on Skype. Even though I'll give you the link to the video on Skype, and watch the whole video on Skype with me, and blah, 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 blah. You should comment on the video, because I need comments to, you know, go along with all the death threats, or whatever it is that people put on my videos these days. Thank you. And please, do not come over to my house to tell me how good the video is. Don't do that. Just comment. Seriously. Thank you.